Good evening, Rabbi. A lot of people are always asking questions like this. I know for the last 30 years since I've been in this neighborhood, and also anywhere else you go, it's the same thing. The question is always about the issue with salads, yirakot, vegetables. They tell you, that they have bugs in there. There's all kinds of things, so you have to be careful not to eat this, not to eat that. There's all kinds of books that have been put out about this, all kinds of authors talking about this. So the question is, Bemet, we have to ask a question in the restaurants over here that we have. Unfortunately, the Vada Rabbanim of the Queens, it doesn't have the policy that many hechshers have. Many hechshers, they have a policy that they only use greenhouse-grown vegetables, so therefore, which is rabbinically supervised. So therefore, there's no problem. It's much less of a problem in a case like that. There can still be problems, by the way, you should know. Even things which are greenhouse-grown, even with rabbinic supervision, they find also bugs in there and worms also. They find sometimes. It's true. In Israel, they grow them like that. They still tell you have to wash it because sometimes there are flies over there, bugs, worms, all kinds of things show up there. This is the thing, So nothing is perfect for sure. Nothing is perfection. But the question is, if they're not using, like the Vada Rabbanim over here in Queens, they're not using everything greenhouse. So the question is, if I go to a restaurant on Main Street, or Queens Boulevard, can I eat the salad over there, or there's a problem? I don't know what the situation is, right? A lot of people have questions like this. There's all kinds of videos that people have made showing, that they pour out the salad, they put it into a net. They see how many bugs are coming out of it, all kinds of things, They say, oh, you see, you can't eat the salad. You go to the restaurant, you can't eat the salad there. This is what people are saying. A lot of discussion about this recently, the last 30 years or so. So the truth is, that after all these questions came up, I did some research in this a little bit, some mechkar, some investigation. So first I want to tell you that the truth is, that eating a bug, eating an insect, is a very big prohibition, very big issur in the Torah. What does that mean? It says in Masechet Makot, over there it says that if a person eats an insect which grows in the water, sheretz, he transgresses 4 prohibitions of the Torah. 4. If he eats chazir, pig, lo aleinu, pork, only 1 prohibition. Can you imagine? This is 4. 4 prohibitions, right? If he eats something which grows on the ground, like an ant, nimala, so there's 5 prohibitions. 5. If he eats something which flies in the air, like a mosquito, 6 prohibitions. Right? 6 prohibitions. So it's much worse than eating chazir, than eating pork. Can you imagine? So the truth is, you have to be very careful about that. Don't, take some kind of a bug, and swallow it. This is a very dangerous thing. You don't want to do something like that, right? I heard there are some countries where they sell, chocolate-covered bugs, ants, like in France. People have told me. I don't know. Is that true? Is that true? Yeah. So Hashem Yirachem. Right. So that's what to be careful about. You have to be careful of something like that. But obviously, but now the truth is though that if you put it into a mixture, it gets mixed with something else. So there's a totally different thing altogether. According to the Torah, when you have a mixture of 2 things, let's say for instance, right, there may be a bug in the salad, or on the lettuce, or in the parsley, right, or cilantro, right, kuzbara, all these kinds of things, on the dill, all kinds of things. So the truth is that it's a mixture of 2 things, right? There's a bug maybe there, and there's also the leaves, the vegetable itself. So what's the din of that? So the truth is that that's called a mixture. That's not, you're not eating the bug by itself. So when you have a mixture, the Torah says it's batel berov. What does that mean? It's the majority of the mixture is kosher. Majority is kosher. Everything is kosher. It's all kosher. So it gets batel, gets nullified. You understand? Now, there's a difference between worms and bugs, though. What's the difference? Because when it comes to bugs, say the Rishonim, the bugs are noten tam nifgam. What does that mean? It gives you always a bad taste. The bug never has a good taste. It's a bad tasting thing. It tastes bitter, It's like not a good taste at all. Nobody enjoys that. So therefore, eating a bug by itself, it's still prohibited. But when it's a mixture, says the Rashba, one of the big Rishonim, and also many other big Rishonim, the Rivash, the Ran, they all write the same thing, that it gets nullified in the majority. So if the majority is kosher, so let's say you have a salad, right? And you have one bug in there, or two, I don't know, whatever, right? It gets nullified in the mixture. So the mixture is kosher according to the Torah. But the rabbis made a gezerah, takana about this, The rabbis. The rabbis said that anything which is a beri'ah doesn't get nullified. No batil berov. No batil b'shishim. Doesn't get nullified at all. Even in 1,000. What's called beri'ah? What is beri'ah? Beri'ah means something which is a full body, like an ant, full ant. The whole body. Cockroach, Shem Rachem, right? All kinds of things like this, right? All these bugs, mosquito, fly, devora, right? The bees, all the same. It's full body, so full body doesn't get nullified. That's what the rabbi said. It's called beri'ah. This is brought down on Shulchan Aruch in Kuf Daled, in Yodea, over there it says, right? So therefore, it's not going to help you. So therefore, the halacha is like this. It says in Shulchan Aruch, if an ant, or mosquito falls into the soup, right? The whole soup is asur. If you can't find it, if you can't find the ant, you can't remove it from there. If you can remove it, remove it. Good, Baruch Hashem. Remove it and eat the soup. Good, kosher, like kosher. But if you can't find it and it got lost in there, the whole soup is asur. Why? Because it's beri'ah. It's a complete body. This is the reason why. But the truth is, that beri'ah, says the Taz, and also Ketu Pleti, they say that the beri'ah is only Yisur Derabanan. It's only from the rabbis, this Yisur, not from the Torah. So from the Torah, it gets nullified, berov, in the majority. But the rabbis made a takana that beri'ah doesn't get nullified. So it's only from the rabbis. So therefore, there's a rule, in halakha like this. Sapek derabanan le'akir. If it's a doubt whether there's a bug in there or not, you can be lenient. So therefore, if you're not sure if there's a bug in the salad, you don't know. You don't know. You didn't make it right. You went to somebody's house or you went to the restaurant. You don't know if they checked it good. They didn't check it good. You don't know what's going on exactly. So what's the rule? The truth is, according to the halakha, he's allowed to eat it. Why is that? Because he doesn't know that there's bugs in there for sure. He doesn't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. Vapros. I don't know. What do I know about these things? If I know for sure, I'm not allowed to eat it from derabanan. So the question is like this, why did the rabbis make this takana? The rabbis made takana, if it's for sure in there, beri'ah, you're not allowed to eat it. So says the Rashba, the reason is because like this, even as we said, according to the Torah, it gets nullified in rov, in more than 50%, 51% gets nullified. So then why the rabbis make takana? Might they make life difficult for us? What's the reason why they did this, rabbis? To make us suffer or what? So we shouldn't have salad? What's the problem? What do they want from us? So it says the Rashba, the reason why they made this takana is because maybe a person will eat some food, and what happens is that sometimes the bug gets left alone in his mouth, without the other thing, just the bug itself. And then he swallows the bug by itself, without the mixture, So this is already from the Torah, it's transgressing, as you said, right? 4 or 5, 6 prohibitions, depending on the type of bug it is. So this is the reason why the rabbis made this takana, in order to save us from this happening to us, that the bug should be by itself in his mouth, and he should swallow it by itself, so then it's going to be bemet the prohibition. So this is the thing. But the truth is, that's only when it's for sure. But if it's a safek, if it's a doubt, vapros, so then we don't have the prohibition. Safek d'Rabbanan yakir. So therefore the rule is, if you go to somebody's house, and he gives you salad over there to eat, you're allowed to eat it. Or you go to the restaurant, kosher restaurant I'm talking about, right? Not treif restaurant. Of course, obviously, right? You know what I'm saying, right? And also, by the way, if we're talking about restaurants, I have to tell you, people don't know about this a little bit. So the question is like this, are you allowed to eat in those restaurants that have the Magen David? They're not black kosher, regular kosher. Regular. What is regular? What is black kosher? What's the difference, right? What's the difference between this and that? There should be one kashrut for everybody, one kosher. Two kosher? One kosher? Two kosher? What business is this, right? What kind of thing is this, right? It sounds very crazy. It sounds a little bit strange. So the truth is, that the difference between this and that, the main difference is like this, the main difference. The main difference is that when it's not black kosher, they don't check the lungs of the animal, the cows, and the sheep.
Right, they do.
They don't check the lungs. You understand? So the problem is that sometimes if you check the lungs, it's going to be trefa, because there's some kind of disease over there. The animal has some kind of disease. So if it has a disease, the animal, and it's going to die within a year if it has some kind of adhesions on the lungs. So therefore, the animal is called trefa. You're not allowed to eat that animal, asur. So this is the reason why a person shouldn't eat meat in places like this, in restaurants like this. Why? Because they're not checking the lungs of the animals. So therefore, it could be that it's trefa. You don't know. So it says the Shulchan Aruch, if a person doesn't check the lungs of the animal and feeds them people like this, without checking, he says he's feeding people trefot and nevelot. That's what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. So that's why you should go to a restaurant only which is glak kosher. Because this way, right, for sure that they're checking the lungs and everything is good, Baruch Hashem. Everything is kosher, Baruch Hashem. Shtabach Shemo. So this is the reason why a person has to go to only that kind of restaurant. That's for sure. Same thing also in Eretz Israel, by the way. In Eretz Israel, if you go over there, there's regular kosher and there's mehadrin. Over there it's not called glak. It's called mehadrin. So you should go only to mehadrin. That's the one that you have to go to. Because that's the one that they're checking the lungs of the animal to make sure that it's really kosher. 100%. No questions. No vapros. This maybe yes, maybe no. It cannot be like that, right? So this is the thing. So getting back to what we said, right? But when it comes to the salatim, so the truth is, that if you're not really sure if there's bugs in there, you're allowed to have it because it's a safek de rabbanan. It's a doubt of the rabbis. Therefore, you're allowed to have the salad. Yeah, I'm sorry.
But it's supposed to be a company that provides the meat they buying from, restaurant buying from. They're supposed to have a proof that it's a kosher animal.
Right. Oh, very good. Yeah, it's good. You're saying good. Baruch Hashem. But you know what the problem is? Let me explain to you a little bit what the problem is, okay? The problem is like this. That there was an old custom in Europe, with the Ashkenazim. They had an old minhag like this. Over there, in Ashkenaz, in Europe, they didn't have glatt meat over there. Very rare. Like maybe 2% was glatt. 1%. Over here in America, they say 10% is glatt. That's it. Of the cows. 10% of the cows is glatt. All the other cows are not glatt. They're sick in the lungs. They have some kind of sickness. So we only have 10%. That's all we got. In Europe, it was even less. So what happened was that over there in Europe, they had a minhag like this, because there was no glatt, almost nothing. So they had a minhag that they would eat also something which is not glatt, They started to do minhag like this. But the problem is that this minhag is against the Shulchan Aruch. This is the problem, It goes according to the Rambam. There is something to rely on, but the Shulchan Aruch says you're not allowed to eat like that, this kind of thing. So therefore, right, the truth is that maybe in Europe they had this minhag because they had no choice over there. There was no other choice. They only had that kind of meat. So they ate meat without checking the lungs. But here in America, we have Baruch Hashem, we have glak kosher, It's more expensive. Okay, you're spending a lot of money, It's mafia, What can I do, right? Okay, what can I do, right? It's okay, so give a little money to the mafia. It's okay, as long as you eat kosher. What do you care, What difference does it make to you? Baruch Hashem, everything is good, So in Europe, so what happened was that they brought that system from Europe, they brought it to America.
Maybe Ashkenazim.
Ashkenazim, right, exactly. Only Ashkenazim. They're the ones who are doing it.
Don't do that.
Right, we don't do it, but we're buying from them. This is the problem, you understand? These stores that are Magen David, kosher, not glak kosher, they're Ashkenazi meat. Everything is Ashkenazi, and they're not checking the lungs. You understand? This is the problem. So we have also other suppliers that make glatt meat, like we have Rubashkin, and Ali meat, and we have what's the other one?
They come prepacked.
Yeah, whatever it is, however it comes, right? The point is, that we have glatt suppliers. The glatt suppliers are good. The ones that are not glatt, they're not checking the lungs. And this is old minhag from Ashkenaz. This is why. But for us, for Sfaradim, this is asur. We never had this minhag before like this, such a thing like this. We never had this kind of minhag. So it's two different minhagim coming in together. What can you do? Whatever it is. But the truth is, a person shouldn't eat meat in places like this. So anyway, as we said, but when it comes to the salad, though, if it's a safek, if you're not really sure if there's bugs in there, you didn't see a bug that fell in there, so you're allowed to eat the salad because it's a safek de rabbanan. This is the way it is. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen, amen. Chazak